I was waiting for a signal. I think I got it. Good morning to all of you and welcome to the Metro East Unitarian Universalist Congregation and greetings to those watching the service remotely. This is a welcoming religious community and we are so glad that you are here. I am Allison Lamoth and my pronouns are she, her. I have been a Unitarian Universalist for 26 years, a member of this church for 2, and I am currently serving as secretary on the Board of Trustees. I'm a retired instructor of Spanish, and I currently serve on the Madison County Board representing the most awesome District 18. Joining us today is Jeff Scovelo, a retired English professor who taught at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville for many years. The MEUUC is a small congregation located in Glen Carbon, Illinois, spiritually led by ministerial fellow Eden Johnson. We gratefully share sacred space with Edwardsville Masonic Lodge, and our mission drives us to live our values. We are creating and nurturing an intentional community that values acceptance, social justice, and the embodiment of UU principles. Come, let us question together. I am so glad you are here, whether in the sanctuary or online. We welcome everyone to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. And we will open our service with a prelude by our accompanist, I'll get it out eventually, Joy Haft. Thank you, Joy. That was beautiful. An important ritual in the Unitarian Universalist faith is the lighting of our chalice. Yes, Ramona, you're almost on here. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations. She can come. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations of the flaming chalice, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. If you are watching elsewhere and have a chalice or candle, please light it now as we all join in saying the unison words projected on the screen. And we have Ramona Hebert, who is lighting the chalice for us. And please repeat with me. We light our chalice in the spirit of transformation. Nothing stays the same. Shifting, changing, guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity. Thank you, Nathan. There you go. Okay. And I'm changing the ritual order a little bit this week to accommodate our performance in the middle of our service. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for the expression of joys, concerns, or sorrows. Here in our current home, it is a place where we can each share the things that weigh down our souls or that fill us with joy, and where those we love surround us in good times and in turmoil. If you would like to recognize a joy, sorrow, or milestone, you can come forward and place a stone or several stones in the water there. Okay. There are stones at the front. Please start from the back and move counterclockwise around to the front. Place your stone or stones in the water, then return to your seats. If you are unable to do this, raise your hand and someone will be happy to do this for you. Let us be in a spirit of prayer and meditation. So start from the back, circle forward, come forward, pick stones. I guess I can go over there. All the way through and then some that day. Okay, so we have a special service today. Our guest, Jeff Scobelo, is going to provide a brief background of William Blake, who was an English poet, painter, and printmaker who lived between November 1757 and August 1827. Okay, Jeff? ¿Dónde está Jeff? Just, we need you to give just a little bio of William Blake. This is the, oh, everyone can.
Button on. There I am. Ooh. That's a strange sensation. Yeah, William Blake, there he is. He died almost 200 years ago, 1827. He was born in London. He lived there his whole life. Except for a couple of years, he lived in a cottage by the southern shores of England, but was a London bird, as he said. He was a London person. He made his living mostly as an illustrator, an engraver, and painter, engraving for sort of periodical literature, magazines, and such of the early 19th century. That was his training, and that was his livelihood. But he was also a poet and a very original thinker about spirituality and about Christianity. He was, I always say, the most devout Christian I've ever come to know, but also the most original Christian. It was a time in England of a lot of ferment, religious ferment. Shakers and Quakers were two of the still, well, more or less current, Christian practices that developed in this time, late 18th century. Muggletonians was another one. There were lots of other groups. Some lasted longer than others, and some still continue. But Blake was none of those. He was his own vision of what the Christian mystery and story meant. So my little presentation, which will involve singing some of his songs for children of all ages, as I'll say, that will be a little introduction to his life and his sense of spiritual practice.
Okay, I'll call you back in just a moment. Okay, now we're going to talk about principles, and where does that all come in here? So according to our guest, all UU values, as you see projected here, are central to Blake's message. While preparing for today's service, he wrote, quote, "As a retired teacher, I'm much less inclined myself to specify which ones are expressed in which ways, and more inclined to ask people to reflect on that question themselves and to share their thoughts with others in the congregation," which I thought sounded really Unitarian right there. Okay. Right. So, our story today is by William Blake. It's The Schoolboy, and it's a romantic poem. Okay, kids, what does that make you expect? When you hear romantic poem, what do you think this is going to be about? Ooh. I thought you might think that. Why don't we see what it really is about? Okay? It's definitely rated G, just so y'all know.
William Blake. I love to rise in a summer morn, when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! But to go to school in a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Ah, then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy or the summer fruits appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year, when the blasts of winter appear?
So was that what you expected? So the one thing I will say is things haven't changed much. So kids back in the 19th century didn't think you should spend a beautiful day in school either. So anyways, now we'll sing the song that we usually sing to sing children out. As you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, love and hope go with you, learn and grow. Okay.
How's that? Better. Hey, there we are. Something I forgot to mention is that Blake was almost entirely unknown in his lifetime. He printed his own books with his own illustrations. I'll explain all that to you. And a few people knew about them, but he made precious few copies. Some of his books exist in one copy. Some of them he made maybe 3 or 4 copies. And then he died. And then about 60 years later, some British poets and painters came upon his work and kind of rediscovered him later in the 19th century. So that's always to me an encouragement to, I don't know, do what you need to do, even if it's not recognized. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm William Blake. Yes, I know. I may have died almost 200 years ago, but pay no attention to what I may look like or sound like. Here in what it pleases me to call the vegetable ratio of this world. For we all live in eternity, whether we know it here or not, and I am indeed William Blake. Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me, pipe a song about a lamb. So I piped with merry cheer, piper, pipe that song again. So I piped, he wept to hear. Drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer. So I sang the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. Piper, sit thee down and write in a book that all may read. So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed, and I made a rural pen, and I stained the water clear, and I wrote my happy songs every child may joy to hear. And that's how I came to write my songs of innocence, which I wrote and sang and printed on my own press in the year 1789, a year of great promise. The recent revolutionary events in France, and not much less recently across the very ocean in America, revealed great auguries of hope to me, and visionary verse followed. Oh. I had already been a long way down that revolutionary road myself. I had primed my own pump. I would soon submit my poem, The French Revolution, to publication by the usual means, though I never cared to repeat that experiment. Instead, I devised my own way of printing. My dead brother, Robert, appeared to me in a vision one day and explained it to me, involving copper plates and a hand press, and acid-resistant varnish, inks and watercolor paints. Each page of each copy, handcrafted, printed, inked, and colored. No two copies alike. I made my America a prophecy, and indeed all the rest of my prophetic works in this illuminated fashion until the end of my days. And of course, they continue even now in eternity. And of course, France and America seemed no farther away to me than the turbulent streets of my own London. All space collapses into one, as all time and eternity does. And love, as the great London poet John Donne said, love no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Love, as I hope to testify with every breath I take in the revealed truth of Christ's mystery, love encompasses all. And of course, I didn't come all this way to talk to you of the politics of my day to day. No. The more we all live in eternity, even here, the better off we all will be. It was always more spiritual than a political revolution that interested me. And so I made my Songs of Innocence, and a few years later, in 1794, as the calendar has it, my Songs of Experience. And then I put the two together, Songs of Innocence and of Experience, showing the two contrary states of the human soul, as I put it. And I printed this book together. I believe I made 23 copies of this particular work, more than I made of any of my other books, in this illuminated and, I hope, illuminating fashion. And sing a song about a lamb, he said. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead. Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing woolly bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee, little lamb, I'll tell thee, he is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek and he is mild, he became a little child, I a child and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. But then, the tiger. Tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Contraries, very important. Indeed, fundamental. Without contraries is no progression, as my poem, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, plainly states. Opposition is true friendship. And how are we to live by such truths? That is a serious question. For everything that lives is holy. I said that too. These are songs for children of all ages, for we are all children even when old, just as we are old souls even when young. All of us, all at once. It is best we think of ourselves. Deal with it. As I tell my friends. Little fly, thy summer's play, my thoughtless hand has brushed away. Am not I a fly like thee? Or art not thou a man like me? For I dance and drink and sing, till some blind hand shall brush my wing. If thought is life and strength and breath, and the want of thought is death, then am I a happy fly, if I live or if I die. I don't explain them. I receive them and I set them down. But my little fly, is that innocence or experience? It can be hard to tell. And sometimes I moved a poem from one volume to the other when I made a subsequent copy. I did have a quarrel with the church, so-called. Church of England, or, well, near any church I could find. I sampled many of them, I assure you, and never found one I would return to twice. I saw them for the instruments of social control and spiritual oppression that they were. I must invent my own system or be enslaved by another man's. I understood. At any rate, that's what I took my Protestant faith to call for. I went to the Garden of Love and saw what I never had seen. A chapel was built in the midst where I used to play on the green, and the gates to this chapel were shut, and thou shalt not writ over the door. So I turned to the Garden of Love that so many sweet flowers bore, and I saw it was filled with graves, and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns were walking their rounds and binding with briars my joys and desires. Away with the priests and their nosy intercessions and usurpations. I'll answer from my own soul myself. Thank you very much. Does the Bible tell me otherwise? Dear mother, the church is cold, but the alehouse is healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in heaven will never do well. I'm a little vagabond. You can help me with this one, with just that chorus line. I'm a little vagabond. Again, I'm a little vagabond. But if in the church they would give us some ale and a pleasant fire our souls to regale, we'd sing and we'd pray all the livelong day, and never once wish from the church to stray. I'm a little vagabond. Again, I'm a little vagabond. And the parson might preach and drink and sing, and we'd be as happy as birds in the spring. And modest Dame Lurch, who was always in church, would not have bandy children, nor fasting, nor birch. I'm a little vagabond. Again, I'm a little vagabond. And God, like a father, rejoicing to see his children as happy and pleasant as he, would have no more quarrel with the devil or the barrel, but kiss him and give him both food and apparel. I'm a little vagabond. I'm a little vagabond. Dear mother, the church is cold, but the alehouse is pleasant and healthy and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in heaven will never do well. I'm a little vagabond. Again, I'm a little vagabond. Once more, I'm a little vagabond. Excellent. Excellent. Innocence or experience? I had a quarrel with the government, so-called, as well, if a distinction between the church and government can even be made in the light of eternal spiritual clarity. An institution no more Christian than a snake, and entirely more hypocritical. I'll have none of them. The great St. Paul's Cathedral was the scene of a yearly civic spectacle, and spectacle is the word, a thing to be seen, and in the seeing, obscuring its truth. On Holy Thursday, each year, the poor orphans in the care of the church would be paraded before the multitudes and made to sing to the everlasting glory of the pity of the church itself. But pity would be no more if we did not make somebody poor. Here is Holy Thursday in its contraries, first innocent, then experienced. Hot work, this. 'Twas on a holy Thursday, their innocent faces clean, the children walking two and two in red and blue and green. Gray-headed beadles walked before, with wands as white as snow, till into the high dome of Paul's they like Thames waters flow. Oh, what a multitude they seemed, these flowers of London town. Seated in companies they sit, with radiance all their own. The hum of multitudes was there, but multitudes of lambs, thousands of little boys and girls raising their innocent hands. Now like a mighty wind they raise to heaven the voice of song, or like harmonious thunderings the seats of heaven among. Beneath them sit the aged men, wise guardians of the poor, and cherish pity lest you drive an angel from your door. As you can see, innocence is not limited to the young. The fully grown, too, can content themselves with fairy tales, unseeing what is right before their eyes. That is not true innocence. That's the child. That's the lamb. But a kind of schooled innocence, wherein we are taught not to see what we know to be true. Here is Holy Thursday, a song of experience. It isn't pretty. Is this a holy thing to see in a rich and fruitful land? Babes reduced to misery, fed with cold and usurious hand. Is that trembling cry a song? Can it be a song of joy? And so many children poor. It is a land of poverty, for their sun does never shine, and their fields are bleak and bare, and their ways are filled with thorns. It is winter there, for where'er the sun does shine, and where'er the rain does fall, babe could never hunger there, or poverty the mind appall. Is this a holy thing to see in a rich and fruitful land? Babes reduced to misery. Aye. Indeed. Is this a holy thing to see? It's an excellent question. And who is responsible for such poverty and the suffering of children? I ask the question. Do you know about the chimney sweepers? Legions of children, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, and a multitude of others were employed, and employed is the word. Employed as a tool might be employed, as a thing to effect an end, and yet a person, a child. Employed to climb up the chimney flues of London and sweep them clean of coal dust, covering themselves in the soot and hurrying themselves on to an early death in the process, not to mention half-starved and shivering and beaten along the way, prey to dangers both human and natural and unnaturally human. This went on for years. Does it still go on? They would prowl the streets to earn their feed, crying, "Sweep, sweep," in search of custom. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me while yet my tongue could scarce cry, "Weep, weep, weep, weep." So your chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep. This little Tom Dacre, who cried when his head, that curled like a lamb's back, was shaved, so I said, "Hush, Tom, never mind it, for when your head's bare, You know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. And so he was quiet. And that very night, as Tom lay a-sleeping, he had such a sight that thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffins and set them all free. And down a green plain, leaping, laughing, they run and wash in the river and shine in the sun. The naked and white, all their bags left behind, they rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. And the angel told Tom if he'd be a good boy, he'd have God for his father and never want joy. And so Tom awoke, and we rose in the dark, and we got with our bags and our brushes to work. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me while yet my tongue could scarce cry weep, 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 weep. So your chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep. That is innocence. There is experience. A little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep, in notes of woe. Where are thy father and mother, say? They are both gone up to the church to pray. Because I was happy upon the heath and smiled among the winter snow, they clothed me in the clothes of death and taught me to sing the notes of woe. And because I am happy and dance and sing, they think they have done me no injury and are gone to praise God and his priest and king, who make up a heaven of our misery. There's that word misery again. It comes from miser. Enough. Or too much. The most sublime act is to set another before you. Do so and you will not go wrong. The eye sees more than the heart knows, and the heart knows more than the eyes see. I saw what was right before me, and I saw what was hidden by what was right before me. I saw the abuses of my time. I wandered through each chartered street, down where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every ban, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blasts the newborn infant's tear, and blights with plague the marriage hearse. I wander through each chartered street, down where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, Marks of woe. I call that one London. Oh, the world is always known and unknown at once. It is best to remember so. Chartered and measured, governed and ordered, patrolled and punished, and bound by the mind-forged manacles of our own dread invention. In what furnace was our brain? And the sinews of our heart, are they of steel? I would not stand for it in silence. Always be ready to speak your mind, and a base man will avoid you. And if some call you fool, like some called me fool, I say, if the fool would persist in his folly, he would become wise. Anyway, the hours of folly are measured by the clock, but of wisdom, no clock can measure. I knew the roots of all run deep, infinitely deep, that we must reach deep within ourselves to find the spring of it all, to find the universe in a grain of sand, to know how our world is created, or how we create our world, I should say. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath, and my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, and my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles, and with soft deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine, and into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. A poison tree, poison tree, a poison tree, a poison tree. Poison tree, a poison tree, a poison tree. Poison tree. It is a tree that grows within us all. No need to look for it anywhere else. We must be free with one another, and forthright, and forgiving too. Do not shrink, nor lord it over, for we all come from the same place. My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. Struggling in my father's hands, striving 'gainst my swaddling bands. Bound and weary, I thought best to sulk upon my mother's breast. That's my infant sorrow. For we are born into time, and eternity is in love with the productions of time. Never forget it. Better still, always remember. So what are we to do then, you ask? Well, let us sing. If not first of all, at least close to first of all. Let us pipe and let us sing, and let us moan when moan we must. And let us sit beside one another. Can I see another's woe and not be in sorrow too? Can I see another's grief and not seek for kind relief? Can I see a falling tear and not feel my sorrow share? Can a father see his child weep nor be with sorrow filled? Can a mother sit and hear an infant groan, an infant fear? Oh no, never can it be. Never, never can it be. And can he who smiles on all hear the wren with sorrow small, hear the small bird's grief to care, hear the woes that infants bear, and not sit beside the nest, pouring pity in their breast, and not sit the cradle near, weeping tear on infant tear, and not sit both night and day, wiping all our tears away? Oh no, never can it be. Never, never can it be. He doth give his joy to all. He becomes an infant small. He becomes a man of woe. He doth feel the sorrow too. Think not thou canst sigh a sigh, and thy Maker is not by. Think not thou canst weep a tear, and thy Maker is not near. Oh, he gives to us his joy, that our grief it may destroy. Till our grief is fled and gone, he doth sit by us and moan. Oh, he gives to us his joy, that our grief it may destroy. Till our grief is fled and gone, he doth sit by us and moan. Oh, oh. It is a power within us all. It was and is never anywhere else. It's within me, surely, and within you, just as surely, and even more surely within us all, when we know ourselves to be divinely one. Can I hear another's woe and not be in sorrow too? Oh no, never can it be. Never, never can it be. I called that song On Another's Sorrow, and I graved it on flaming metal and decorated it with flowers, human figures climbing among them, and a bird of paradise in flight. And now I give you a divine image, I should say, the divine image. To mercy, pity, peace, and love, all pray in their distress. And to these virtues of delight return their thankfulness. For mercy, pity, peace, and love is God, our Father dear. And mercy, pity, peace, and love is man, his child and care. For mercy has a human heart, pity, a human face, love, the human form divine, and peace, the human dress. Then every man in every clime that prays in his distress, prays to the human form divine. Love, mercy, pity, peace. And all must love the human form in heathen, Turk, or Jew. Where mercy, love, and pity dwell, there God is dwelling too. It is no one but yourself, I say. Look not to the sky, but to contemplate its earthly wonders. Look not for heaven there, nor hell below, but look inside. There you will find it all. Sure. Oh, I wish I had that in my head, but I don't right now. Yeah, sorry, but that's a great. Yeah. Oh yeah, do you know it? Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, give me my flaming sword. Give me my chariots of fire. I will not cease my mental fight till we have built Jerusalem here in England's green and pleasant land. I'm making up half of that, but yeah. That's a poem. That's Blake, in addition to these beautiful songs for children of all ages, he wrote some very eccentric, long poems. He really did invent his own like cosmic set of characters and forces of nature and so on. And that little poem called Jerusalem is like the introduction to one of these long, wild, imaginative journeys. And it's become a kind of unofficial hymn of the Church of England, right? Yeah. He would have been horrified to find that probably. But, yeah, so I don't know what happens now.
I think I need to go on with stewardship, but thank you, Jeff. And I thought one of the messages that I heard when I thought of the values is love is at the center. That is at the center of our values. I heard that message loud and clear with what you had to say today. So I didn't ask someone to pass the basket, but I am going to now. Okay, Joanne is going to pass the basket. Thank you. As Joanne passes around the offering basket, I offer the gentle reminder that this community of faith is supported only by your giving. However, stewardship is more than just financial donations. It is also about donating time and talent to help our church. If you can't write a check, please help our church survive and thrive by offering your time to help make coffee and bring snacks, serve as an usher, serve on other committees, such as helping with worship on occasion. Please donate as you can with your time, talent, and or treasure. All are needed for our church to prosper. If you are a guest, this service is our gift to you, so please do not feel pressured to give at all. If you don't have something to put in the basket, you can give electronically through Givelify, or I guess just Givelify is what we're using now. You can see that to the left. And if you are willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member. I am one. Who else is a board member? Raise your hand. Contact a board member. Let us know what you would like to do and what you can do to help. Give what you will and what you are able, for you are generous people. And now that we have the offering, please join me in our offering prayer, what we say yes to. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. And now announcements, potluck today. And next weekend is Easter, and Eden Johnson will be in the pulpit. And today is a setup and a breakdown day. But we do get an Easter gift, no breakdown. Okay. And now I'm going to extinguish the chalice. Please recite this prayer with me on the screen. The light of truth, being cannot be put out. We are keepers of this flame until we meet again. And finally,
It's a poem.
So
It's a hymn, one of our hymns, but the words are by William Blake.
ta-da! And Joy gets to relax through it. Thank you. Well done.
Synchronicity, thank you.
Did we sing this?
To steal a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower, holding infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
To see our world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an
Let's eat.